the Hamul Casino. Um, some lady, and she's like a psychic or something. She's gifted. So some lady went into the Hamul Casino, and she said, "This place is the most dead, scary place ever known." And she thinks my queen, my queen, my queen quite often. I never talked to her about the Hamul Casino. But I talk to her when she thinks my queen, my queen, my queen. And I'll chat with her here and there. And so she was at the Hamul Casino, and she said, "This place is full of death and horrifying things. Why do people just walk in and out of here like it's nothing?" And I told her, the dead don't see their own death, and the dead don't see anything. So the dead just keep dying, but they don't see what everybody else sees. The dead don't see the 666 on their forehead. The dead don't know they're damned. The dead don't know they're dead. So they don't see the 666 on their own forehead. They don't understand they walk in and out of death traps all the time. And as surgery, IVs, medications, and more will never help them, as their life is unsurvivably, unlimitedly beyond all death, suffering, they will think whatever they think because they don't see reality. So because they're guilty, nobody cares. And maybe that's the part that people don't understand. When somebody could possibly get to heaven and get out of here at the end of the world, then it's really important to tell them the truth about something. But when they'll never live on, they'll never get out of here, they'll never understand a heaven beyond here, there's no reason to tell them there's a 666 on their forehead. There's no reason to tell them they're living in damnation of God against them. There's no reason to tell them anything. They'll go through a surgery that won't work, and they'll just get used to the fact that surgery never works. They'll get an IV and find out that IVs don't work, and medication doesn't work, and drugs don't work. And they'll just get used to the fact that somehow, for some reason, drugs and medications and things don't work. And they'll just rationalize as they die forever, like everything always does. You know, you think the leprosy people were so happy to just admit they had leprosy? No. Leprosy existed because of things that were bad against Jesus before he even came to the planet. Leprosy is pretty sad, bad stuff. They didn't know they had leprosy as a punishment for bad things they had thought of or wanted to do against Jesus, even before he even got to earth. They didn't know they had leprosy. They didn't know it was a punishment of God. They just knew everything was bad and just kept getting worse, and they would just rationalize it. And then they just knew everything's bad and just keeps getting worse, and they would rationalize it. And they realized that their leprosy, no one could fix or change or help anything. And in the end, leprosy was not ended by medication or a magic like miracle cure. In the end, leprosy stopped because the people that did things against Jesus had all died, and there was no reason to have leprosy around anymore. So leprosy was put in their souls as a punishment for things that they were thinking against Jesus. And a lot of times it was just thinking against Jesus and then everything else. It wasn't always just a deal with the devil against Jesus or anything directly against Jesus. Sometimes just thoughts against Jesus against Jesus and heavens that just never exist. So the reality was the leprosy was in their soul. The doctors could never do anything to help them or even understand anything. No one knew it was punishments from God or anything else until Somebody was told by God, the leprosy are the people who have done something against Jesus. Get them away from everybody else. That's when lepers started being stuck on the side of the road and stuff and being kind of ostracized and kept away from everybody else. So there is going to be a time where God's tell you, these are the ones that did this against Bonnie. Stay the hell away from them, or get them the hell away from everybody else. But the United States did this. There are 666 in the United States. So how are they going to get that to work? They're going to have to get the good United States to treat the bad people in the United States like lepers and get them the fuck out and have them sitting in corners and stuff. Because they'll just destroy the country more and more and more constantly. Connected to the United States. They will just kill everything more and more constantly, no matter what they do, because they're 666. When you're 666, it's just mass punishment of God on overload constantly. You don't ever even want to be around people like that. In 1 second, you can die forever in the worst ways that have never even existed, forever, in 1 second, by being near the 666. That's how bad their crimes were this time. All the way around this end of the world. So, did they understand? No. See, they didn't understand. If they would have had a 666 on their forehead, they wouldn't have understood. But the people with leprosy did not push it far enough to become a 666. They really just were lepers. And then, like I said, as soon as there weren't any more people against Jesus like that, leprosy just didn't exist. These people are sickening 666. And they tend to try to perpetuate or educate or get others to be 666. So, I mean, how does this end go? I don't know. But I'd assume that as soon as the world of good people understand how much they're going to die being near just gross weirdos that go against me and go against heavens, I don't think it's going to be worth it for them. I don't think it's going to be worth it for them for even a second to be anything against any heaven to any extent. And every heaven that's officially, legally a heaven or connected to a heaven, like the United States and Dubai have done things against many heavens, many realities. So United States and Dubai did this to me. It went to their head and they started doing a lot of up yours type things against lots of different gods, lots of different powers out there. And the more they found out about gods, the more horrifying and up yours they got. And so it's really scary when you think about the paybacks for crimes that serious. You know, so will the good people at some point probably shove them in a corner like lepers and keep them away from everybody else? Undoubtedly. Will they die off pretty fast, or will brand new souls show up? I don't know. There's a lot of people, you know, teaching their kids God hate and stuff. So people teaching their kids God hate mixed with the United States trying to keep the education of gross 666 and God hate. I don't know. It might perpetuate for quite a few generations, bringing a lot of bad punishments upon everything. Now, you can't change that the United States and Dubai doing this to me is bringing unlimited, unthinkable punishment just in general upon humanity and more. That part's pretty, you know, well, it sucks. But if you're good people that can stay close to my queen, then you just do what the gods say to live and live on and have a happy life and future. And that's, you know, that's why I promote to just think or say my queen, and do what the gods tell you to do, so you know you can just live on and have a future and stay far away from anything that's 666 or bad related. Then you don't really have to care. But yeah, the bad side of life is pretty bad.